Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today I've got for you guys 10 different high quality designers worth every penny. I'm talking that small stack of pennies, take it. Give me the fragrance. And I got fragrances that'll cover everything. We got some for cool weather, some for warm weather, some that are mad cheap. But you know what I don't have in today's list? Attack of the freaking Killer Tomatoes. The fragrance. Because that's something that we've been asking for. Right? No, actually. Xyrena coming with the wonky, just craziness. Yeah, but if you have TikTok, the most unholy of apps, add me on there because I talk about this on there, along with an American Psycho fragrance. I do love this packaging though, it's the sickest thing ever. So with that out of the way, what do you say we talk about some fragrances that are worth every single nickel, dime, penny, quarter, whatever? Can we get started with this one? How about we do Dior Homme Sport? Lemon, bergamot, elemi, pink pepper, and woods, some of the notes in the fragrance. And this one, absolutely fantastic. Similar to Dior Homme 2020, but made fresher, easier wearing, maybe even slightly more elegant than Dior Homme 2020, maybe. Not really a sport fragrance in the sense that when I smell this, I don't think, oh, it's time to go to the gym. It doesn't smell fresh out of the shower. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean, it just has a little more going on. Classy, slightly sweet, very versatile, compliment puller, nice quality. And outside of that comparison to Dior Homme 2020, actually stands out a good amount as well. So really love this one, and I would wear this pretty much year round. Yeah, even in the middle of winter. Let's go Hermes up next. I swear there are some cheaper ones on here. This one isn't one of them, but there are some coming up. Voyage Hermes, the Parfum. It's got the cool bottle here. It's kind of like the wheel on Price is Right. You know where you spin that wheel? It's kind of like that.
He doesn't take direction well, does he?
It's addictive. But if you do it too much, the buttons pop off. Oh no. Has cardamom, lemon, tea, spices, rose, and woods. A lot of different things going on here in this one. I love it. I love it. It's a little bit similar to like Declaration by Cartier, kind of like in that overall wheelhouse, kind of in that style. But this one smells, to me, a little higher quality, a little easier wearing, slightly smoother, maybe a hint more sweetness in there as well. Very classy and masculine, smells great and flies way under the radar. I mean, as far as like what the vast majority of people out there are wearing, it's not this. Not that it smells difficult to pull off or anything, because it absolutely doesn't. It's just, like I said, under the radar at this point. I struggle to call it a hidden gem, but it kind of is. Now, much younger guys, I don't think are gonna go for this one as much, but middle-aged and up, fire. Before we hop to the next fragrance, guys, you know the drill. Codes. Okay, that's good. Let's get a cheap one next. How about that? Let's go Sculpture Parfum. Interesting looking bottle, and sometimes if you're not very careful, you can tip it over. And the original Sculpture, that was a bit of a hype beast, a cheapy hype beast for a long time. And this one, even though it's much newer, is also cheap. I bought mine from JOMASHOP, and I think it cost me like 25 bucks, around there. I would say that to my own personal taste, I'd go with this one over the original at this point. I know for some people it's gonna be sacrilege because, the original one has been out for so long and a lot of people love that one, but I think the Parfum is a step up and it's not really that much more expensive. Performs a little bit better, projects a little bit better. It's got orange blossom, tonka, citrus, benzoin, lily of the valley as some of the notes in the fragrance. And it's similar to Xerjov's Uden, also Bond Number 9 Lafayette Street, so kind of in that style. You could use this as an alternative to those, only again at a much lower price point. And as I was kind of referring to earlier, the first Sculpture, the original Sculpture, that one has been loved for a long time, but the performance on like newer bottles, a little bit lacking, and this helps solve that. Then we have Chopard Oud Malaki. Chopard has a lot of fragrances that are quite nice, especially for the price point that you can usually find them for at discounters. And the bottles themselves, not that they look bad, but they're a little nondescript, at least to me. They all have like the same style to them to an extent, and they just change the little sticker on the front there. Sometimes they have like a colored bottle, other times see-through, but I think that may be one of the reasons that for some people they overlook them, because they'll be like looking through a website or something like that at a discounter, and they're like, it's kind of plain, and they just keep scrolling. But you shouldn't keep scrolling, because they're actually really good. Tobacco, spices, leather, oud, little grapefruit off the top, some of the notes in this one. That leather is very sweet, very inviting. The oud, not really overly animalic or anything like that. Just spicy and deep with nice sweetness and warmth. Really classy, very high quality. It's gonna be a little bit more toward the niche side of things, at least as far as designer fragrances are concerned. So for some people out there, they're gonna wanna go for something a little bit easier to wear, but for those looking for something slightly more adventurous but still wearable, good stuff. Now one that I just like a lot myself and also completely overlooked, Varvatos XX Intense. This thing just has no love at all. It's not really expensive at full retail. Not all that easy to find at discounters yet for a good price. So that would be one thing that maybe you want to wait on this one, because Varvatos fragrances typically are marked off a lot when they go to discounters. So if you could pick this up for a pretty steep discount, then obviously that's going to be better for you, better for your wallet. I know that probably John Varvatos, the brand, doesn't want to hear that, but that's just how it is. Smells a little bit similar to Polo Red Extreme, so kind of in that style, and that's a fragrance that I really enjoyed, which is unfortunately discontinued. So if you really loved that fragrance, then absolutely try to check this one out. I mean, it should be available most places that sell fragrances, so if you can, you know, go to your local whatever and smell this one, you know, see if it works for you, spray it on your skin. It's good. It's got bergamot, ginger, geranium, tonka, and coffee. So that coffee is obviously what's gonna tie it in with Polo Red Extreme. Nice and fruity off the top, quite sweet, but in a really pleasant way. A little pop of ginger, giving it that fresh spice. And then the coffee is present there from the opening into the dry down. It's not like a heavily roasted coffee or anything like that. So no burnt edges. Like I said, this stuff completely overlooked. I think on Fragrantica, I had like under 60 votes when I looked, which is pretty low. And the presentation looks pretty slick too. Love the bottle. I mean, to my own taste, I could do without this, the little charm, but the bottle looks cool. After that, going with an Acqua di Gio Parfum from Giorgio Armani. Basically the replacement of Acqua di Gio Profumo. Does pretty much the same things that Profumo did, and really similar in terms of how the scent comes across as well. So you've got bergamot, rosemary, olibanum, patchouli, marine notes in here as well. Of course, you gotta have marine notes. Wouldn't be an Acqua di Gio without the aqua, then it'd just be di Gio. And this is one that I love just wearing year round, any season. Doesn't matter. Spring, summer, obviously it's gonna work. It's an Acqua di Gio. Fall, winter, this one works really well. Comes across even fresher off the top when you first spray it on. And then that kind of incensey vibe that it has as it dries down works really well when it's cool out. Massive compliment puller, ultra versatile. Like I said, year round, doesn't matter. So Acqua di Gio, gotta put that in there, but honestly, whichever Acqua di Gio you like. I like Parfum, I like Profondo Eau de Parfum. Those two probably my favorite right now. But, you know, if you try the Acqua di Gios and Profondo Parfum works the best for you, you know, scoop that one up. Whichever one is more to your taste, which is honestly how it should be with everything, right? Let's go cheap again. It's been a minute since we've had a cheap one. Perry Ellis Midnight. This one's a little interesting in that it's been cheap. It's been cheap, like since it came out. It's a Perry Ellis at the end of the day. But for a while there, you couldn't really find it many places. And so it was like, yeah, it's cheap if you can find it, but you can't. Nowadays though, you can find it easily. It's available across a bunch of different websites, typically around 25 bucks, sometimes even less. So yeah, nice, affordable, cheapy. Fragrance itself, pretty low key. Not a lot going on just in terms of presentation. It's got orange blossom, vanilla, amber, mandarin orange as some of the notes in the fragrance. Also a little touch of cinnamon, some spice in there as well. It's vaguely in the style of something like The Most Wanted from Azzaro. So that sweetness that The Most Wanted has, that coziness that it has, this has as well. This is a little bit more synthetic in the sweetness off the top, and I don't say that in a negative way. Like when you smell it, it doesn't smell bad at all. It's just it has more of that like sugary vibe when you first spray it on as compared to The Most Wanted. But still, for the price point, it's really well done, because you would think it's gonna be just honestly trash when you look at that price. But if you want something that is in the Most Wanted wheelhouse, in that family style, but for much cheaper, with a little more sweetness off the top, this will do that for you. Let's go Uomo next. Valentino Uomo, not the Born in Romas this time, just the one that kicked it off. And if you've only ever smelled the Born in Romas, this is way way, way different than those. So don't jump into this blind, okay? Know what you're getting into. Now, I say that and it sounds like I'm talking about the most unholy, unwearable fragrance ever. That's not what I mean. It's just, it's very different. So this one has bergamot, leather, woods, chocolate, coffee, hazelnut as some of the notes. It's a little bit in the style of something like Dior Homme. And when I say that, I don't mean Dior Homme 2020. I'm talking what at this point is considered Dior Homme Original. Kind of feels weird to say, but you know, that's what it is. That bit of nuttiness from the hazelnut here smells amazing. Really classy, sexy, elegant, sophisticated. More of a fall winter scent, you know, be perfect in a more formal setting. Just a great, great, great fragrance. Let's go purple label next. Ralph Lauren Purple Label. Now this one is a little bit weird. In the US, you can find it on Ralph Lauren's website, but you can almost never find it at discounters. And apparently, if you live overseas, you can't really order this off Ralph Lauren's website, or at least that's what I've been told, which is kind of frustrating. And then it will pop up at discounters, but for more expensive a lot of times than what it actually goes for on Ralph Lauren's website at the retail price in the US. And that's because they'll ship it overseas. So like if you're overseas and you want it, you gotta jump through hoops. It's a whole thing. And maybe I'm fudging some of those facts, but that's as best as I can recall. That's kind of the issue with this one typically. I just bought mine off Ralph Lauren's website a long time ago and just was done with it, you know. The atomizer is complete trash on these. Check it out. That maybe doesn't look bad, it's bad. But a lot of old Ralph Lauren fragrances have these crappy atomizers. They just don't work well. Ooh, I love how that smells though, man. Oh, and the bottle looks cool. It's like almost fluorescent. It looks like it should be in some kid's room with the black lights on and those like black light posters on the walls. You know, like some Ozzy Osbourne or Pink Floyd kind of vibes. Grateful Dead. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Those like old school, what were they, like felt posters that were neon, but that's what it looks like. It has mahogany, sage, oak moss, coriander, and blackberry as some of the notes. It smells similar to Bleecker Street from Bond Number 9. This came first, so yeah, one of those situations where, as happens from time to time, where a niche fragrance brand goes, oh, maybe we could do something like that. The knock on this one has been the performance. Performance is not fantastic. Part of that is gonna be down to, again, this atomizer, because it just does a little tiny puff. So you need to like spray extra times with this and a little bit closer than you normally would in order to get some like actual concentration of fragrance wherever you're spraying. Otherwise, you're just getting lightly misted from the crappiest atomizer in the world. But that is the drawback, performance, but the fragrance itself, fantastic. A little bit green, slightly sweet, but tart at the same time. Really classy, nice woodiness the whole way through, and pretty unique outside of Bleecker Street. Let's end it with the cheap one. Very affordable. You can get this 4.2 ounces for, I think, 25 bucks. That is a tester. If you want to get the full presentation, I think it's about 30. So, you know, pretty pricey. Pull out your wallet, 5 more bucks. It's from Issey Miyake, and it's low DC Shades of Colombe. Nice looking presentation, very wearable fragrance, great for spring and summertime. My biggest beef with Issey Miyake is they make such good winter fragrances, fall and winter fragrances. You can't find them. It's such a tease, such a tease. Every year or two, it seems like they come out with something that's just amazing. It's like, wow. And then it's available for all of 2 weeks at discounters. And if you don't get it, tough, because you're never gonna see it again. And that is unbelievably frustrating. And then they'll have summertime fragrances come out, like this one, that you can find for like ever, just until the end of time for like 25 bucks. So it's just this dichotomy, you know, on one end, it's like, oh, that's amazing. Oh, I can't find it, but I know you can do that. Please do that and like actually have it available, please. And instead they're like, enjoy the summertime flanker though. And you just like, so this is one of those summertime flankers. Like I said though, really wearable, very cheap. Cardamom, cashmeran, tea, bergamot, and grapefruit, some of the notes in the fragrance. Don't know why I said tea like that. Tea. It's very fuzzy smelling, which there are a few different Issey Miyake fragrances that have that kind of like cashmeran, fuzzy, woody vibe. You can pick it up immediately in here. And it kind of goes along with the tea, like it gives the tea this like fizziness almost. I don't find them super similar, but some people have compared it to the smell of Gris Charnel from BDK PARFUMS. So you could think of it maybe as like a very inexpensive summertime flanker in that vibe, kind of, sort of. This is one that I think at the price point you can get it for now is a good purchase, especially for spring, summer. It does have a little classy edge to it like most Issey Miyakes do, but I would caution against you paying above like 45. You know, if you start going up above that, I think that's just too much, and at that price point you can find stuff that's better. But 25 for 4.2 ounces, you can get a lot of use out of that, and so that's a really solid pickup. There we go, guys. There are some fragrances that are worth every penny. Some of them are a few more pennies than some of the others, but a nice selection. You can do a lot with these. And also killer tomatoes. Just in case you never check the TikTok or anything, that fragrance, unbelievably green. Like, super ultra mega green. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.